Hey everyone, it's me again, and welcome to Faith's Faces. If you're new to my channel, welcome to my little corner of the internet. My name's Faith Grenade, and I put makeup videos here on YouTube. And you should subscribe. Let's do that. Let's subscribe, and you know what? Let's hit that little bell icon too. It'll notify you every single time I upload so you never miss another video. What you've stumbled upon is Faith's Faces, which is usually a get ready with me or a makeup tutorial like we've got going on here, and it's Pride season! June is LGBT Pride Month. Those of you who have been with me since the OG days, you know I am bisexual, technically pansexual, but back when I came out, pansexuality wasn't a thing. It was kind of lumped in with bisexuality, so I still identify as bi, but my behaviors are really more pan-related, which I made a whole video about settling and dispelling rumors about bisexuality. I'll leave it in the cards up there if you guys want to watch it. Bi and pan are sort of, you know, not all bisexual people are pansexual, but I feel like most pansexual people are bisexual. You know, they kind of go hand in hand, or at least that's how I like to think of it. And every year I try to do at least one LGBT Pride makeup tutorial because it's a cause I feel really strongly about. I love advocating for LGBT, particularly LGBT youth, and because they are in particular danger, especially in this administration. Not gonna get political here, not gonna get political. Last year I went ham sandwich for my Pride makeup tutorial. You guys might remember it. I'll leave it in the cards up there as well if you want to watch it. It was crazy. It was absolutely insane. It was one of the most insane makeups I've ever done. It involved brow cover, it involved all kinds of crazy shit. So for this year, I knew I wasn't gonna beat that in terms of craziness, but for this year I wanted to do something that was a little more accessible to the average Pride goer. I wanted to do something that was a little bit easier, a little bit, yeah, more approachable. So kind of something where the average makeup applying human can be like, yeah, I can do that. You know, that's something that I can do without having to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to start doing my makeup. I love how this came out. You guys know, you know me. You know I normally suck a fat donkey dick at doing winged eyeliner, so naturally what I always like to say is if you hate doing something because you're not good at it, do it over and over and over and over and over again until you love doing it. Winged liner is not my strong suit, so I've been making it a point to throw winged liner into more of my looks and to make more winged liner centric looks. I used a gaggle of different eyeshadows for this because I'm a little bit picky about my rainbows, but don't feel pressured. Like, I think I used colors from like 3 or 4 different palettes to create this rainbow. Do not feel pressured to buy all those palettes, please. You will end up like in the hundreds of dollars of debt. Some of them you can't even find anymore. Use whatever you have, guys. Honestly, do not feel pressured to use exactly the same things I did, and if you want to know how to do it, just keep on watching, baby. We are still using our palette of the month today, even if it's not a chief player in the look, it still is. I've primed and done my brows already. You guys know how I do that. You don't need to watch it over and over again because it's really boring. I basically just do Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow in the brows and then some brow gel, either Essence or NYX or something. But I am gonna take Windsor, which is just the transition shade to end all transition shades. Not really, but it's your typical base color, and a Sonia Kashuk 109, the old version, and I'm gonna rock this into the crease. And this barely shows up on me, so if you're darker than me, you might have to use one of the deeper shades in this palette as a transition shade, because you can see this is barely showing up. And then I'm going to take Windsor onto the lid as well, and I'm just doing what's known as a wash in makeup, which is basically just a color, one color, lid to crease, really blown out, really easy one shadow look. They do it on the red carpet a lot. Now we're going to get into the graphicness of things. First, I did a winged eyeliner with just basic black liner on the top lid. I am going to do this off camera because it takes me forever and a day to do, and it's really, really boring to watch. There's 1,000,001 videos about how to do winged liner on YouTube, and to be honest, they're all right and they're all correct methods. It really just depends on what you're into and what your skill level is and what works best for you. You can use something like a shadow shield like these. I found these at Walmart. They're basically just little adhesive stickers that you can put to line up with your eyeliner. You can do it freehand like I normally do because I'm trying to work on my freehand. You can use a pen, you can use a liquid, you can use whatever the fuck you want. Like, it really, there's a million and one ways to do winged eyeliner and they're all correct. I'm gonna do my winged liner, hopefully try and get it as close to this one as I possibly can, and I'll be back to actually do the meat and potatoes of this look. Okay, winged liner is done. It's not exactly the same, but it's close enough. My eyes are two totally, completely different shapes, which makes winged liner really, really difficult for me. NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in Milk. This was the key, I think, to making this look so much better, and also being a lazy, or not being a lazy bitch, and using different brushes, but we'll get to that. So I'm gonna take my NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in Milk, and we're gonna run this on the lower lash line, inner corner to outer corner. We are gonna wing out the white eyeshadow base, and for that I'm actually going to not be lazy and use a brush. I'm gonna be using this angled brush. This is the flat eyeliner brush from Satina Beauty. Something my in-laws got me for Christmas like years ago, so I don't even know if it's still available. But I'm gonna mash some white eyeshadow base on that angled brush. And we're just going to follow the winged liner that we've already created. And we're going to wing this guy out even farther. So it's going to be really standing out here. And work to blend this eyeshadow base out a tiny bit. This isn't necessarily to like blend it out. This is just to alleviate any chunkiness, because this white eyeshadow base can get a little bit chunky sometimes if you load too much product on. And now I'm gonna start layering color, so this is the fun part. Now we've got the hard part done. The hard part is finished. From here, the sky's the limit. Depending on what pride you're representing, you could do any number of different color combinations. You could do black, white, and gray for asexual pride. You could do purple, blue, and pink for bisexual pride. What up to all my bi brothers and sisters? You could do yellow, chartreuse, or no, yellow, cyan, and magenta for pansexual pride. The sky's the limit. You could do any colors you want. I decided to do a rainbow in this case just because it might be one of the more technically difficult color combos to pull off in terms of blending. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for you guys. First, I'm going to take Sugar Pill Love Plus, which is in my Pro palette right here, on that same angle brush, and I'm going to start with the outside wing. So we're going to take it at the base here, nice and slow. Don't feel rushed on this, because this is the important part, right? You know, this is the wing. And we're just going to fill in everywhere where there's white, making it similar to the other side. Now that that red is on, I sort of noticed that the red was looking a little pink, so I went ahead and took Lovesick from the Melt Cosmetics Lovesick stack and patted that on my angle brush and just went right over the top of this. So for my orange, I'm using a palette you can't find anymore. This is the Kat Von D Mi Vida Loca Remix palette. I depotted this. I have a video on how to depot this. I'll leave it in the cards if I can, or in the description, one of the two. But yes, you cannot find this palette anymore. And I feel terrible that I'm using it, but the orange in here, Analog, is just too perfect. It is the perfect orange for me. So I'm going to take Analog from this, and I'm just going to mash that on the seam of the red and the white and carry it inward a little bit so we see that true orange popping through. You could use Sugar Pill's Flame Point for this as well. That would have been in my Sugar Pill Pro palette, except at the time that I made mine they were out of stock in Flame Point, so I did not get to add that. So for yellow, again, there are a bunch of different yellows in the world. Kiko makes one. And I'm going to be using Sugar Pill's Butter Cupcake, which is this guy. I'm one of my favorite yellows. The Mi Vida Loca Remix palette also has a yellow that'll work just fine too. I tend to lean more on the canary yellow side as opposed to the like neon green yellow side. So I'm just gonna take Buttercup Cake, layer it up, same step. We're just using yellow to meld into the orange. There's a couple different options for green. I like to layer a lighter green and a darker green. That way it helps to make a more seamless blend, if that makes sense. Because blending yellow into green can be a little bit difficult just using a grass green. So I'm going to take my Vizart Editorial Brights palette, which I love. I'm going to take this acid green shade first. And we're going to lay that over the yellow. Then I'm going to go in with this grassy green right next door, and I'm going to layer that on top of the lighter green. So the lighter green is basically just acting as a tool to blend that yellow, and this is actually going to create that saturated green color that we want. You guessed it, find my makeup wipe and clean off my brush yet again. So now I'm going to go in with this blue here, which is the lighter blue of the two in this Vizart Editorial Brights palette, and we're going to work this on the edge of the green, fading inward. And then finally we get to the purple. Now, putting a dark color on the inner corner of the eye is a problem because it makes your eye appear smaller, and I already have fairly small eyes. I already have eyes that are deep set, so I don't want to make them look any smaller than they already are. To mitigate that problem, I take a Real Techniques accent brush and I go into, I don't know what color this is, I can't remember, I'll leave it in the description, this lavender shade. I believe it's called Frostine, I want to say. I don't remember, but I'm going to take this lavender shade, and what this is going to do is it's going to give us that purple that we need for the end of our rainbow, but it's not going to close our eye off, right? Because we're using a lighter color. It's a highlight. Okay, now look at your work. Admire it. It's beautiful. And go back and add whatever colors you think are missing. So if anything disappeared in the blending process, if you need maybe a little more yellow, a little more green, or a little more orange, add those now. So now that everything is looking good shadow-wise, everything's where you want it to be, I'm going to go ahead and do liner, lashes, and mascara. For my liner, I'm taking the Urban Decay 24/7 eyeliner in the shade Gonzo. This is one of the few Urban Decay eyeliners that doesn't smudge on me. I don't know why, some colors do, some colors don't, which is annoying, but anyway. I'm going to use that in my lower waterline just to bring a little more blue to the party. And then mascara is going to be my YSL The Shock, as always, this guy right here. And for lashes, I went really delicate and soft with this. You could add like really strong lashes if you really want to like pride it up. But for me, I just used basic bitch Ardell Demi Wispies. I find they add just the right amount of length and volume to my lashes without taking away from what's under here, because it provides that kind of balance, if that makes sense. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do my foundation, and probably my bronzer too, and I will be back to finish up the face for you guys. Okay guys, foundation is on. I'm trying another shade of Estee Lauder Double Wear, third time's the charm, maybe. The first time really didn't work for me because the shade was too light and the formula was emphasizing texture. Second time, you guys will see that video in due time, the shade was too dark and too peachy. This one, the shade looks right, but it's still emphasizing texture, but dang it, I love how it wears. But we're gonna move on with our lives to blush. And I think what I ended up using for blush was the Physicians Formula Butter Blush in Rosy Pink. This is such a pretty color. It's kind of a little bit, like, it seems like it's not going to show up on my skin. It seems like it's too light, but I'll show you here in a second. This absolutely does show up. It's quite pigmented, actually. It's a true pink, very basic easy kind of standby pink, as I like to call them. You could use one of those wacky prismatic highlighters. You could use whatever's trending this week. It seems to be rainbow highlights and prismatic highlights, which you could definitely do. But today I am just going to use the Kat Von D Metal Crush eyeshadow in the shade Thunderstruck. This is the only Metal Crush eyeshadow I own because it really is the only Metal Crush eyeshadow that doubles as anything. You know, because these are so metallic, this is the only shade I found that can be used in places other than the eyes. We're gonna go light on the rainbow freckles this time around. The first time I did this look, I went really heavy on the rainbow freckles. It was a little excessive, I'll even admit that, but I liked how it looked at the time. This time around, we're gonna go a little bit lighter with it. I'm not gonna go too crazy with freckle action. Just gonna do enough to kind of make a point and move on. So, first I'm gonna start with Jeffree Star Cosmetics Red Rum, just a little on the back of my hand. And then I am going to take the tail end of my Real Techniques Bold Metals 203 brush. This is my favorite little tool for applying freckles. I'm gonna start at the inside of my cheeks. I'm going to kind of wipe off my little metal tip here. And then I'm going to go into, where is it? So now for our next color, we're doing Jeffree Star's Flamethrower. Use whatever you guys have, honestly. Liquid lipsticks are some of my favorite materials to do faux freckles with because they're pigmented. And I like my faux freckles to kind of show up. So now for yellow, I'm going to use the only yellow liquid lipstick in existence, Jeffree Star's Queen Bee, and I'm just plotting these on the back of my hand, clean hand, by the way, and dipping my tip of my brush in here and just plotting. I'm going to add, this is Jeffree Star Mistletoe, this is a green, and we're going to add just a couple of these. Like I'm not going to add too much because green freckles kind of look a little weird, so I'm just adding a few to bring in the green. For blue, I ended up using Breakfast at Tiffany's by Jeffree Star because I wanted something a little bit lighter. I didn't want to put like deep dark blue on my face. If I had a lighter green, I would have used a lighter green just because freckles look better, in my mind anyway, in lighter colors than they do in darker colors. For purple, I opted to use Blow Pony by Jeffree Star. This is another lighter color, so again, we're going for lighter, more pastel shades for the freckles. So there's your rainbow freckles. That's how to do that. And these are not going to look natural, but if you want them to blend into the skin a tiny bit more, because believe me, I understand, you know, using liquid lipsticks, it kind of just looks like you made a bunch of dots on your face, which is also a look. I threw my blush brush, but I'm going to take a little bit more of my blush here, just a tap, and I'm going to go back over some of these, and what that will do is that will sort of fade some of the lighter colors into the skin a bit more. With that, we are ready to set our face. First, I'm going to be extra. I'm going to take my first setting spray, which is Urban Decay All Nighter. And then, of course, wouldn't be a Faith Grenade video if we didn't fan ourselves. And now we're going to create a barrier with our PPI, the lid stuck, with our PPI Blue Marble makeup sealer spray. And that's pretty much that, you guys. So when it comes to lips, you could basically do anything. You could do a rainbow gradient lip, you could do a nude lip, you could do a black lip. The last time I did this look, I ended up doing a black lip, so I'm gonna go get mine out of my purse and do that, and I will be back to show you guys the finished look. And here's the finished look, you guys. Were you guys into that? Was that a cool transition? Hopefully. Probably not, but whatever. There is the finished look. I'm thrilled with how this came out. It came out exactly as I envisioned it in my head. It's a pride look. It's not quite as crazy as the one I did last year, I know, but I wanted to give you guys something that was a little bit more accessible, that wasn't going to require hours and hours and hours of work. Without further ado, the thing I always forget to do, let's do some awkward posing. Awkward posing. Looking down. Looking forward. looking fierce. Oh, and I forgot to mention to you guys, for the black lip that I'm wearing, because I'm a predictable son of a bitch, I am wearing the Sephora Cream Lip Stain in the shade Nightbird. I love this, like, I mean, is it as black as Jeffree Star Weirdo? No. But it's a little bit more comfortable. So, it's a little less drying, it's not as long wearing, it's not as black, but it is less drying. That's about it for me. I'm gonna head out and go on about my life. I hope you guys found this video helpful, informative, or entertaining. If you did, there's a button for that. Spank that like button in the butt, you know it deserves it. And if you want to see more from me, got a couple options now. You can click the videos on either side of my head to binge if you're bored or bummed out, or hey, you can hit that button that looks like my face and subscribe and become a member of the faithful today. I put out new videos every Sunday. Thank you guys so much for watching and joining me today. Have a safe and happy Pride, and I'll see you in the next video. Doodles!